Welcome back to the Love in Dubai show. Now we're on the second anniversary of the day COVID was declared a pandemic. And now we have Sara Sadik, who's the author of The Extraordinary Pause, which is a keepsake of the pandemic between 2000 and 2001, of course, and a tribute to the efforts people made, and also just an incredible tool to kind of discuss and explain the pandemic with your kids. Welcome to the show.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
We are very excited to have you. You were watching the show yesterday.
I was.
And I got a little...
I was stalking. I was researching what shoes to wear. No, I was just checking it.
But you were also answering the big internet question of the day yesterday.
Yeah.
But then she came in today and she was like, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah. Because I woke up at 2. I'm like, doors. No, wheels. Wheels. Has to be wheels.
Wheels or doors?
Wheels.
What are there more of in the world?
Wheels.
You've come with wheels? Why?
I feel like it just makes sense. It makes sense. And then...
What was the big... There's always like a big turning point. You're like, oh, because of this.
I feel like it's older. Does that make sense? Like in olden days, there was a wheel, so I'm like, it has to be wheels.
That's a good one.
Right?
That's a good reason.
And we always see like crickety like wheels made out of wood, and you know.
What about all the car doors? I don't know. I think
I'm like, what? When was the car invented? No, I'm like caveman days. That's what I'm thinking. Like there was one caveman who invented the wheel.
Yeah, but just because the door didn't
get
as much appreciation.
Whatever. It's wheels. It's wheels.
It's wheels. We don't know. We'll never know.
Or will we? Let's just research all night.
Well, no, because this is the thing. Could you imagine if that was what you studied?
Imagine if that was your job.
To figure it out.
Yeah, and when you do, you get like $1 million.
It's so funny because we all go through life. We're like, does what I'm doing have purpose?
Yeah,
that person would have purpose.
Right. That's right. This is our objective today.
Tell us about this. Is this your purpose?
That's a really deep question. I'm not sure. I'm like going through a midlife crisis. No.
Let's go back. Tell us about yourself. Before we get into this amazing book, what inspired you to write the book, or how did it come about?
So I have 3 kids, and we were all under lockdown. The end. No, I'm kidding. And that's what happened. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but that's what inspired me, honestly. So it's my second book. My first book was about finding the magic. There is no magic in mommyhood. No, as in you have to find your own magic. You have to figure out like what makes you cope. What's your coping mechanism? What's your currency? I call it currency in the book. And mine is like humor and just getting through that. And then the extraordinary pause came about because we were all, I think we forgot, or were choosing to forget, that we all had to get passes to go buy groceries, and we like permission slips, not passes, yeah? Mm-hmm. And that craziness, and we were in an apartment downtown, and I had 3 kids, and homeschooling like, no honey, this is a B. This is not a D. It's not like basic letters, and I'm not a teacher, and that whole thing. And then I didn't know how to explain it to them. Like, why is daddy home? Why do we keep saying like, don't touch that, wash your hands, sanitizer, that whole, we're still kind of in it. We are hopefully getting out.
To help
That
kids.
Was a really long answer. Sorry.
Oh, but no, but it's amazing. Okay. But and you touched on so many good points because like the pandemic was unnatural.
Yes. And
I don't know how parents got through it. Well, my sister is the same. She has now 3 kids. So 2 to 3 kids. But the pandemic was normal for them.
Yeah. But the thing that really hit me, honestly, and was kind of what I wanted the book to be about, and less about hand washing and let us wash our hands, because we all know, okay, great, I'm not going to write a book about that. But it was the same storm who affected all of us. We were just in different boats. So regardless, you're blonde, I'm brunette, you're Irish, I'm Lebanese. Kind of
traditionally brown.
I know. Traditionally brown. Won't deny that. But Lebanese Palestinian, regardless of religion, race, economic status, it affected us all globally. And these kids, you have to wear a mask to school. You need to bring 5 masks. You can't touch. And the whole thing for them was just so much. It still is. They're still wearing masks to school. Thankfully, we don't have to wear them outside, but
I love the language you used to describe it, like in terms of storm, because it's what it was, a 2-year storm, and it like was over our heads.
Yeah. And we're still in it.
What I really, really, really love is the name.
Yeah.
Like it's so appropriate.
So thank you, because it took us so much back and forth. And Karine Jaber, who's a friend of mine, is the amazingly talented illustrator. I mean, it's just, you can't have a children's book without amazing illustrations, and these illustrations are incredible. So we went back and forth with the title. We didn't want it to be obviously pandemic or COVID or how we got through it or something negative. And we didn't want it to be how we stopped and started, like that idea of stopping and starting and everything stopped. And so we felt like a pause is not permanent. It's you stop, but then you change something maybe and you restart. And it was extraordinary. And that's kind of what the book is about.
I think it's amazing because I think it's dramatic enough to capture kids' attention, but it's also quite sweet in a way.
Yeah.
Should we? You know what I'd love to do?
What?
I'd love to do a small reading of the book, so you just guys can get a brief idea of what the intro is
like.
From the author. I'd love if we have like music and we could dim the lights, but we can't.
Dim the lights.
Can we dim the lights and get this? So it's nearly like a story time book.
Yes, story time. Everybody get comfy, cozy. Get your cup of coffee.
I'm just gonna sit
Kids are in school. Take your shoes off. Get your hoodie on.
This is a reading of The Extraordinary Pause by Sara Sadik.
Yes. Not long ago, in a land we all know, things were moving fast. So fast that everyone stopped noticing the smell of fresh pancakes and the color green. Like I should zoom in for that. And the color green. And even each other. So true. And it was in that moment that a virus arrived. It visited every corner of every country, even though it wasn't invited. So it's funny because I've been doing a bit of readings, like a reading of the book, just certain pages, certain parts for different schools across Dubai. And this is always the page that kids want me to go back to when I'm done reading it. They're like, go back to the city page because
why is that?
Because they know. I mean, we did a very cliche kind of drawings, like a cliche-driven, drawings, or like iconic drawings that kids would be able to recognize. So they know New York City, they know, London. Maybe they haven't been there, but they know like Big Ben, and they know that this is meant to be Africa and that sort of thing. So they love that because they know like it honestly affected everybody. Do you want me to keep going? Are you getting sleepy?
No, I'm not. Is that the goal?
Yeah,
like it's a
story
time. Oh, look, this is the nighttime.
Yes. Sorry.
When you've just a question about kids that you've met on your time. So when you've met, obviously you go around to all these different schools and you have two kids that have been through it.
Yes.
Do they have kind of unusual or different observations about the pandemic?
Yeah, they do.
As we would.
They do. So in this book, this is kind of why we included a QR code for teachers and parents, I think on the very last page. Yeah, right here. That teachers can scan, parents can scan. Just kind of like trigger questions to get your kid to talk about it other than,
amazing.
Yeah, other than, I hate the mask. Or I can't sit next to my friends. Or I'm tired of washing my hands. Or whatever the reaction is. It's much more like, what do you think we learned? Because that's ultimately what the book was about. It's this whole premise of there is no light without darkness. And we're still going through it. This element of just, like you said, this overriding cloud. So yeah, kids just are so much smarter than we think. And the observations that they've made are, this was, a lot of these lines are something maybe my kids have said, or they definitely approved because they are my harshest critics.
Really? Tell us about that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. When I drafted it and I was like, guys, I have this idea, and we were still under lockdown. Like, guys, I have this idea. What do you think of this? And they're like, no, I don't like this line. So now they're 8, 6, and 5.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Busy house.
Crazy house. But they're honest. So if I'm like, I have this new idea. I want to write about a bunny who speaks many languages. And they're like, why? But why? Like, why would the bunny do that? I'm like, well, I don't know. It's just this idea. And they're like, no, mommy, no. So they're great critics.
You know, I really love that you have those trigger questions at the back because we don't know how things can affect people mentally, and it's always so important to use the right ways to phrase it. So, what would be another example of a kind of a trigger question?
I mean, we've put in some examples, like what changed at school with your family, what good thing happened that was unexpected. And I think for my kids and a lot of kids, it was my husband was home all the time, like every day. I mean, I love my husband, but it was a lot. He was home all the time.
And you were too, and the kids were too.
Yeah, and for my kids, they're used to him traveling. Daddy, what country are you going to? When are you back? That whole thing. So for them, he was home all the time.
And that was one of big adjustments.
Yeah, and that was an amazing thing for them. And they were so happy and a huge adjustment, yeah.
We've briefly mentioned the illustrator, Corinne Jabber, but can we talk about the process to actually
get it together?
Yes, because obviously every page is intricate. There's like every single page we could look at and say, wow, this is amazing, because it's every single page is a work of art.
It is.
You know, I just see references, global references in each page. It's amazing. So how did you work together to get to this?
So I worked with her a lot. So I've worked with her on my first book. She designed the cover of my first book. And I always run ideas by her because I trust her. And obviously she's the illustrator who's either going to feel the story that I've written or not. So the first draft that I sent her, she literally sent me back a message saying, there's something there. This is not it. Work on it. And there's something there. So a lot of the lines, I sometimes didn't even have to tell her, this is what I'm thinking. This is, you know, I envision it like this, but the depiction of the virus was definitely her conceptualization, her idea. So the virus felt like a big old bully, mean, scary, and unfair. And she just, she gets it. She gets it. We're amazing in taboo together. You know the game Taboo where, you know.
But I thought when you can't say things.
Yeah, where you can't say certain things, and you're like, remember that time we went to the cafeteria, and she's like ketchup or like something totally random. Yeah.
So you are.
So she gets me.
And so together you've created this book. It's called The Extraordinary Pause. How can people get their hands on it? And why should people get their hands on it? Why is this perfect for parents right now?
I mean, not only is it a keepsake to keep in your library forever, because this is something that our kids are going to be studying. They're going to go back. How did it start? Where is it? What years? Well, that whole thing. It's available online. Amazon and Kinokuniya and Borders and Carrefour, and I mean across the UAE and internationally.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
We are going to give away a copy today, so if you would like it, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we see all of your comments come in. We love to read them after the show, so please just mention why you want it or just mention the book in some way, and we'll get a signed copy out to someone.
Yes.
We're going to be signing copies all day.
Yeah, I'll be here all day, all day.
Thank you so much for your time.
We
really appreciated it. It's a beautiful, beautiful book.
Thank you.
Guys, that is it for us on the Love and Dubai show. Have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you on Monday morning. I will never get the weekend.
I know, me too.
I can't do it.
Me too. It's going to take forever. See you
forever
on Sunday.
and a day, but Monday. Not less than the pandemic. Okay, bye. See you on Sunday. Bye.